everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe and well. So this week we are delving into Shakespeare and Midsummer's Night's Dream. And I know that your Hobbit packets are due tonight, so I tried to move forward the Shakespeare homework to Wednesday by around 10 o'clock because we need to move forward into the next homework, which is the modern theater, which is due on the following Monday. But I'm trying to give you a little bit of time to make sure that you finish this because you should be finished with The Hobbit. But because of these times, I'm trying to push things a little bit forward to give you a little bit extra time. And don't forget the Hobbit essay is due the following Monday by midnight. So let's talk about Shakespeare. These notes are important. They will help you finish the play unit. For the play unit, we will not be doing an essay, but you'll be doing an activity, and I'll talk about that more next week. So who was he? He was a playwright. He lived in the late 1500s, early 1600s. His plays, his ideas, his concepts, they're used everywhere. They're redone, they're changed. He's known as one of the greatest writers of all time. His works are popular because even to this day, I mean, wow, his ideas are still unpacked and used. So he was a great writer. So at least 2 of his plays were lost. 38 survived. Some of them he co-wrote with John Fletcher. Shakespeare's work, no one knows when they were exactly written. Some people feel like Shakespeare really wasn't a person because a lot of people can't believe like one person that was ordinary from an ordinary background could be so brilliant, could write so many different brilliant works. But I mean, a lot of great stuff happens from ordinary people, but some people theorize that maybe Shakespeare is not real. Performing Shakespeare, like I said, it can be done in many different languages. It can be changed. It can be changed to modern dress. You know, if we look at the more modern version with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, Romeo and Juliet, that's proof that it can just be modified and twisted into different forms. So one of the things that some people really like freak out about is, the language was Old English and it can be really difficult to unpack and understand. But there's a lot of editions that try to boil down and explain what happens in the stories to help you out. And our book does that too. So we need to kind of understand some of their beliefs to kind of understand what some of the ideas are about in the stories, because some of the ideas they talk about in Midsummer's Night's Dream, it's like, where are these people coming from? And the reason being is they believe different things. So these notes are important to understand what you're reading. So life back then was really hard. A lot of people died from hunger and disease. Their medical remedies was to cut you to let it bleed out, which nowadays we know, bleeding out means you're going to die. So, and then a lot of women died from childbirth, or a lot of women were really sick because they had multiple births, and it was a hard time to live. They really believed in particular concepts a lot because it was their one way to get through this hard life. So there was the idea of the chain of being, an attempt to give order or to realize why you're placed in what you're placed in. Everybody occupied a particular chain. Angels were above humans. Animals were below us. This is a picture of it. Women were below everything. Women were thought of to be below human. So, except Elizabeth, she was considered, she was the queen. So, she was, outside of the chain, obviously. But it was used to keep people in their place, believing you're born into where you're supposed to be. So, don't cry about it, like just keep working and keep going. So myths and magic, they really believed in fairies and magic and witches, folklore and superstition. They were thought as important as church ideas. They believed that fairies and goblins could come out at night, interrupt your dreams, make you crazy, those kinds of things. Midsummer's Night's Dream really focuses on these ideas. So Elizabethan theater, it was performed, so these concepts were performed outside of London. They were kind of thought of as this rogue kind of like, ooh, the theater, because it was the first ideas, if you can imagine, the first type of TV for people during that time. Um, so a lot of it was performed outside of London. A lot of it was performed outside in like a meadow of some sort. But as it gained speed, it became hugely popular, and they started making like the Globe Theater and large theaters to entertain people because people really needed an outlet of entertainment instead of thinking about their position or about how bad things were. They would go to the theater. So the audience, it was entertainment for everybody. It cost a penny. I mean, if you think about how expensive it is to go to the movies today, I mean, it's really cheap. It was really difficult too because pickpockets would go through and steal people's wallets. They would shout out rude comments. If you watch Shakespeare in Love, that movie, just clips of the movie show you how rude and obnoxious people were that went to the theater. So today, how people dress up and they're quiet and everything, that's not how theater was back then. It was rowdy, and people would eat food or they'd throw their old food if they thought something was boring. So it was a really interactive, crazy place. People would jump onto stage and be part of sword fights. So it was very rowdy compared to how it is today. So a lot of people thought he was an actor and then he became a writer. A lot of times actors do like one part, like they're the hero or they're the comedian, but there were no actresses because women were not allowed to do that particular position. So boys usually played women because their voice hadn't cracked yet. So the Globe Theater was from 1599 onwards. Typically, Shakespeare performed in the Globe. It could hold 3,000 people. It did 2 performances a day, so that kind of tells you how popular it was. Besides the men that he worked with, which were the Chamberlain's men, he owned a share in the Globe, and he made quite a bit of money off of it. So there it is. And that is it for our notes for Shakespeare. Take your time with it. The best way to do Shakespeare is to read it out loud because it's a play, and it'll help you a whole bunch if you read it out loud or you read it back and forth with someone at home. And to just kind of get those ideas. I even suggest watching Midsummer's Night's Dream just to kind of visualize what it was like and to hear the words out loud if you're struggling to do it. That's it for now. I hope you have a good day, and I'll be talking a little bit more next week about modern theater, and we will have our post for our partner presentations on Wednesday. Get your homework done and get your Hobbit stuff done, and I will be posting the homework turn-in for this week on Wednesday. That's it for now. Have a good day. Bye.